Real talk. Be careful who you sleeping around with. Be careful who you sleeping around with because it might be somebody very close to you. You know, growing up, especially like in our family, or if you was in the country, they would always tell you, check the last name. Watch who you dating because y'all might be cousins. You might be kin each other. And nowadays, it's a lot of sleeping around, hoeing around, men with men, women with women. But I want to talk about something in this video about a brother who learned something the hard way. As you can see the title up there, be careful who you sleeping around with. Might be somebody very close to you. And I'm not going to reveal a name, but we're going to call him Mr. in this video. And Mr. was a very smooth cat, well dressed, but his problem was running women, younger women. And Mr. was about 55 years old, you know, heading toward 60. And he had many young women. That was his thing, getting with them. He take them in the room and they do whatever on him. Whatever he want, he pay their bills, you know, sugar daddy, so many ways. If they wasn't 20 and up, he didn't want to holler at them. He said, I got to have them 25, 26, 23, so on and so on. But something happened to Mr. that broke him down. And Mr. ran into this real beautiful young woman. I say she was about 25, 26. Fine. Bottle, body like a Coke bottle shape. And he really liked it, her. Because Mr. wasn't going to be faithful to nobody. So that's how he dealt with a lot of his being alone. He would have a different woman every night. But this one particular night, he met this beautiful young woman at the club. And they went home. One thing led to another. You know, he digging this young girl. And he loved her. I ain't going to say loved her. He lusted after her so much that he find himself being with her every night. They get together, have a few drinks, sleep around, whatever. All sex, everything went on. But one night, that young woman broke down after they had sex. And she just laid to the side of the bed, just crying and crying and crying. I guess something hit her heart that night. You never know what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, or who it's going to happen with, but it's going to happen, ain't it? And then she just kept crying, and Mr. didn't understand what was going on. And when he asked her what was wrong with her, she just had a moment where she missed her father growing up because this young girl never had a father. And she was always looking for that. And her mother never really told her what truly happened. And by Mr. being the man, even though he wasn't the perfect man, he was trying to give her advice because Mr. himself, you know, he walked out on his daughter, you know, and never looked back, not once. And they just kept talking and talking and talking. And Mr. tried to ease her mind off of it and start playing with her some more. But she just couldn't get back in the mood as he was trying to rub all on her and lick her up and down from head to toe, all of that stuff. She wasn't trying to do it. So he wound back up talking to her again, and something that young woman said set something off in Mister's mind because she started talking about her mother. And the name that she called out, Mister had to pause. The last name she called out, he started putting two and two together. And come to find out, that was the woman that Mister used to mess with. And Mister always knew that he had a daughter somewhere. Now, how is it out of all the women that Mister sleep with, this boy wind up putting his penis in his own daughter? And as they kept talking and exchanged numbers like they was doing anyway, come to find out, Mr. was the father. They went and got the test done and everything. Come to find out, the one he was breaking off, spending his money on, sticking his Johnson up in, was his own little baby girl. And she was sitting around her doing the same thing, sucking on her daddy. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Riding her daddy, taking money from her own daddy. She didn't know. See, you never know who you're sleeping around with when you're sleeping around. In this man's case, he was breaking his own little daughter off. Can you imagine how Mr. felt? See, we got all these diseases out, brothers and sisters. AIDS, so many diseases out now. Can't even name them. And one of the most powerful videos I think that I've done on her that got quite a few views is the one I talked about HIV. And it's a lot of negative comments on there because people couldn't stand it. But I'm trying to help people save their life. I mean, I can't save nobody in the term like Christ, but just to give you a wake-up call, whoever men, you better be careful who you running up in. You might mess around and run up in your own daughter. And it's a lot of women out here looking for that male, that man, that father type figure. This is why so many young women are getting these sugar daddies. And then it's vice versa. You got these older women getting these boys that's 22 years old, 20-something years old, and trying to control them and mess up their mind, looking for love in all the wrong places. Mister didn't know all that time he was getting attached to this young woman that he was having sex with his own daughter. But that straightened him up. Straightened him up the rest of his life. Because it took that right there to wake him up. Now, what would have happened if somebody would have had a disease? What if Mister would have caught something from some other woman and he would have slept with his daughter that he didn't know at the time and would have gave it to her? Be careful who you're sleeping around with because they might be closer to you than you think. God bless you. God keep you. Peace.